living longer, living healthier, living better than ever before. Welcome to Mountain Pacific's Healthy Living for Life, a weekly series that gives you the information, education, and expert insight you need to become an active participant in today's ever-changing healthcare climate. Here now is today's program host.
Television, magazines, and social media. No matter where you look these days, there are lots of tips around for weight loss programs. Fad diets do come and go, but do these programs actually work? Welcome to Healthy Living for Life, a show dedicated to helping you do just that. I'm your host, Lisa Sather. Today we dive into diet trends, including the keto diet. Stay tuned.
I was the last guy you'd expect to get diabetes. I was a competitive runner and I always took care of myself. So when I was diagnosed, it kind of threw me. But it's really encouraging to know I'm not alone with it. There are a lot of other people going through the same things as I am. It takes some effort. You have to keep after it. Exercise, meds, and diet are the key. But there are a lot of folks who want me to succeed. Diabetes is not the end of the world. With effort and attitude, you can have a normal life.
I was outside working on some equipment, nothing too strenuous. I started sweating and feeling out of breath.
When he felt pressure in his chest and aching in his arms, I knew we had to call 911.
First responders were there before we knew it. 38 minutes later, the doctors had restored the blood flow to my heart.
Now we know dialing 911 saved his life.
Your life is on the line.
This message sponsored by Mission Lifeline Montana.
Out here, we love our animals, from the wildlife to the livestock. Inside, it's the same. They're just like family. We keep them happy and healthy, most of the time. Secondhand smoke puts pets at risk for cancer, feline lymphoma, vomiting, increases the risk of tumors and lung cancer, even causes eye and skin disease. Secondhand smoke puts your pet's life at risk.
With as many as 1 in 10 Americans at risk for Alzheimer's or some other form of dementia, chances are someone you know and love will receive that diagnosis. When that happens, you may well feel devastated, but know that you are not alone. Help is available. You don't have to face dementia by yourself. Call the free 24/7 Alzheimer's Association helpline, 800-272-3900, for guidance and support.
Welcome back. Joining us today is Jamie Larice, a registered dietitian who is going to talk to us about fad diets. Jamie, thank you for being here.
Glad to be here.
So let's talk about when a diet is considered a fad diet. What does that mean?
Well, a fad diet usually just means that it's a mainstream diet that is usually fleeting, but it has a very high popularity. Examples include low carb, like the Atkins or the paleo or the keto. It can also include low fat fads that started in the 80s and have since still been popular. It includes liquid diets like the juice diet or the Advocare diets, or even pills and supplement diets like the HCG diet. So a fad diet usually just means quick results, dramatic results, and super popular.
So you're talking about quick results and dramatic results. So do they actually work?
Well, fad diets are popular, and $33 billion a year is spent annually in the United States on fad diets. So depends on your definition of whether they work. Some, when followed, of course, provide the results, but the results can be super dramatic. And in a medical world, dietitian world, we want to see long-term results. So oftentimes fad diets, again, work in the short term, but then they don't work in the long term.
So you've kind of already mentioned the pros and cons about that. Is there anything more we'd want to talk about in terms of losing weight so quickly?
Well, anything more than 2 to 5 pounds per week is considered dangerous as far as weight loss is concerned. And many fad diets will offer very dramatic results. And of course, because of our culture and the fact that almost half of our population is obese, we always want super dramatic results. We don't want the long-term lifestyle changes. So the pros of fad diets are, yes, if you follow them, they can most certainly work. But there are way more cons involved with fad diets that people don't realize, and that's why people keep coming back for more. If a fad diet works, we would only have to do it once.
That makes sense. Are there any statistics around the long-term success of any of these fad diets?
Well, diets in general, about 46 million Americans per year statistically try a diet. 50% of those, so about 23 million, are doing what's considered a fad diet. The statistics show that only 20% of people who attempt weight loss can actually become successful, whereas success is deemed success by losing 10% of their body weight, and they only hold it off for about a year. So having a statistic that low, to me, doesn't really show that fad diets are successful.
Absolutely. So are there any fad diets that are just plain dangerous?
Yes, there's a lot of fad diets, and I'm sure a lot of people remember these. One is the HCG diet, and this was a diet that was actually popular back in the 50s, and utilizing human hormones, but also keeping your calories to 500 per day. So a lot of people can tout the HCG diet as being successful, but anybody who's restricting their calories to 500 per day are going to lose weight. The issues is that by only eating 500 calories per day, you are not getting enough nutrients to actually sustain life. And so while you might be losing weight, you also might be losing very crucial muscle mass, and our organs and our tissues, they're all protein. So we don't want to lose that protein. Another fad diet that's been dangerous is one called the Master Cleanse. The Master Cleanse has been touted as a detox diet, where someone only drinks water with lemon juice and cayenne pepper for 10 days. Of course, that's going to give you weight loss, right? But how it can be detrimental is it can end up causing people eating disorders. It can end up losing muscle mass for people. And what they do is they screw up their metabolism. There's also another slew of diets that have been popular that have been dangerous, including the baby food diet. So this was a diet that was popular in the 90s and continues to be popular regarding which websites you're going to. And it's basically that adults are eating baby food instead of their meals. The issue is that baby food is designed for the nutrient needs of babies. And babies most certainly do not have the same nutrient needs as adults. And for us to survive and to prevent disease, we need the 6 essential nutrients every day. So not getting those can be super dangerous. And then the last one I want to talk about is the fruitarian diet. This is still popular today. And basically the premise of the diet is that you lose weight because you only eat fruit, whether that be whole fruit or in juice form. The problem is that fruit is fabulous. It's chock full of fiber, it's chock full of vitamins and minerals, but it's only one of 5 food groups that gives us the 6 essential nutrients. So over time, people end up messing with their metabolisms, they create food aversions, they may lose weight, but again, they're losing water weight, they're losing muscle mass, and so long term, they're just setting themselves up for disease.
We have time for just one quick question before we have to take a break. But could you talk to us about fasting real quick? Is this a type of dieting, and would you recommend it?
Yeah, so intermittent fasting has become super popular. The problem is that there's not a lot of long-term research that supports it. Obviously, in medical terms, fasting is used when we have some sort of toxin. People who have extreme diarrhea, people who have extreme gut issues, oftentimes fasting will be prescribed just to let the body heal so that it's not having to work overtime and digesting anything. More research is needed on intermittent fasting, and there's a whole bunch of information out there for people to choose from, whether they do rotating fasting where they eat whatever they want and then fast for 2 days. There's modified fasting where they go certain hours in a day. And then there's time restricted fasting. where people can pick and choose the hours in which they fast. The research so far has shown that as far as weight loss goes, it's nothing better than compared to a traditional weight loss. If it makes somebody feel better by fasting certain times, then of course we support it. The problem is long term, are they able to get enough nutrients in within one day to support the body's functions?
Great. We're going to pause for a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some of the most popular fad diets over the last several years. Stay tuned.
Did you just text me?
I didn't want to disturb you if you were sleeping.
Sleeping? I'm sitting right next to you, silly.
There you are. Hey, I found a couple of Medicare helping programs online that I think we ought to look into.
It says if we qualify, we can get help paying for our prescription drugs. Oh, and there's a program that can help pay our Part B premium.
To learn more about extra help and Medicare savings programs, call your local SHIP counselor today.
Maybe I better text him.
I take care of my wife at home. When I found out training was available, I said, sign me up. It's made a huge difference.
When my husband was injured at work, it was life-altering. The classes taught me that it's okay to grieve, to ask for help, and to better cope as a caregiver.
My dad lives 4 hours away, and the Powerful Tools classes taught me that it's okay to ask for help. I highly recommend them.
To find out about this course for caregivers, go to powerfultoolsforcaregivers.org.
It's amazing the difference a little training can make.
Life is made of stories. Stories that we all share. But some of us have a hard time reading due to a vision, reading, or physical disability. The Montana Talking Book Library is here to help. Call 1-800-332-3400 to learn if you qualify for this free service, because no story should go untold.
Welcome back. Jamie Louise is still here with us talking about fad diets, and now we're going to dive into one of today's most popular diets, the keto diet. Welcome back, Jamie.
Thank you.
So I understand there are a lot of different kinds of keto diets. So what is a ketogenic or keto diet, and what are the different types?
So the ketogenic diet is based on a bodily function that happens when we restrict carbohydrate. Carbohydrate is the preferred energy source for the body. And in fact, carbohydrates are one of the 6 essential nutrients and one of 3 macronutrients along with fat and protein. Ketoacidosis is a process within your body where when your body doesn't get carbs, it still needs energy. And if it doesn't have its preferred energy source, which is carbohydrate, it's going to use fat for energy. The body doesn't want to use protein for energy. That will be its last resource because, as I said before, our muscles, our organs, they're all made out of protein. So the body will try to reserve that. So as far as a weight loss method, if we can restrict the amount of carbohydrate that we have in our diet, the body's engines will still need energy to keep functioning, or else we would be brain dead. And so what it'll do is it will look to the fat reserves. So whether someone has a lot of adipose tissue, meaning all the fat reserves that they've accumulated over the years that's undesirable, the body will start to use the fat as energy, and it will then decrease the amount of fat we have in our body. The different types of ketoacidosis diets is just the amount of carbohydrate that people choose to eat. The most traditional keto diet limits a person's carbohydrate to 5%. So if you think of our daily energy needs as a pie chart where there's 100%, the keto diet is saying only have 5% carbohydrate, and thus you will get the dramatic weight loss that you want.
Has there been research into the effectiveness of this type of diet?
Short term, the keto, of course, provides effects because when we lose our fat, especially fat that we needed to lose, we can then stabilize our insulin levels. So this can be effective for people who have any sort of condition related to being overweight or obese, meaning high blood pressure, high blood sugar, diabetes. The problem is that it's short term, and considering that the carbohydrate is a macronutrient, in protein is the body's preferred energy source, doing the keto diet short term just to reset the metabolism and get your body accustomed to burning the way it is, that can be a plus. The issue at hand is that people assume that this keto diet is a way of life. And when we cut out one of the 6 essential nutrients from our diet, what we're cutting out is a ton of micronutrients that work symbiotically with everything else that we're eating to survive. So the long-term effects of the keto diet have not been studied, but dietitians and nutrition experts all agree that the long-term effects really are disease.
Thank you. That's really good information. Are there people who should steer clear of a keto type diet then?
Most certainly. People who don't have fat to lose. We don't want to get into ketoacidosis because ketoacidosis automatically raises the pH of our blood. We want a very specific pH of our blood so it doesn't become too acidic. So again, people who don't have fat to lose, the keto diet can be super dangerous. And even though the keto has been touted as something that can help diabetics, people who have complicated and uncontrolled diabetes also have kidney function that's not 100%. And the kidneys, you can think of them as the filters of our body. When our blood becomes too acidic, which is exactly what keto does, is it raises the acidity of our blood, the kidneys are then forced to produce bicarbonate to neutralize that acid. If someone's already got problems with their kidneys, either from diabetes complications or something else, raising the pH of the blood can be super dangerous and can actually result in kidney failure.
Thank you. So what about exercise or building muscle while doing a keto diet? Is that okay?
Building muscle and exercising should be a part of life and not contraindicated for any diet. If someone is looking to lose weight, we want to look at 2 to 5 pounds max per week. Energy in equals energy out. Someone can utilize the keto short term by reducing their carbohydrate, which most often are the carbohydrates that we don't want, the added sugars, the high non-nutritive substances like enriched grains. If we can cut those out, have the fat be used for energy, and including exercise, physical activity for the long term, weight loss is unavoidable.
So your final verdict on the keto diet, Jamie?
My final verdict is that the keto diet should be used short term to reset the metabolism, but it most certainly should not be a long-term solution for our eating patterns.
Thank you. Well, you've provided a lot of good information. We're going to pause here for a short break, and when we get back, Jamie's going to talk to us about other popular fad diets. Stay with us.
When I found out it was diabetes, my first thought was, Barb, you need help. You have to take control of this. There is help. My doctor gave me a phone number. I called and signed up with a diabetes educator. There is help. I have to put blinders on when I walk past the bakery counter. I can feel my blood sugar go up. You succeed a little at a time. If you have diabetes, help is available. You do not have to do it alone.
Ask your doctor about diabetes education or visit montana211.org.
Final call from flight 566.
Hello, gentlemen. May I see your Montana Real IDs?
IDs? Why, I'm Captain Meriwether Lewis.
And I'm Captain William Clark.
Hang on, I see more than one William Clark.
It's the real me, I promise.
Discover more at mtrealid.gov. Available now.
Montana Real ID. It's the real me.
And me.
I've been shooting since I was young. It's something I've always enjoyed. I wasn't feeling like myself, but my friend noticed. He asked if he could hold onto my guns temporarily. At first, I was a little shocked, but then I agreed. I think he saved my life that day.
Welcome back to Healthy Living for Life. Jamie Larisse is still with us, and we're talking about fad diets. Thank you for staying here. So So we've been talking about the keto diet, which is pretty big right now, and some other diets have lasted for a lot of years, Jamie. So let's talk about Atkins, which I guess actually started in the 70s. What is the Atkins diet?
So the Atkins diet is much like the keto diet, where there is a prescription for low carb. Back in the day, though, the Atkins diet did not give any sort of warning against what other types of foods were eaten. So as long as no carbohydrate was eaten, someone was given license to eat whatever they want, meaning tons of bacon and meat products and whatever they could get their hands on that didn't have carbohydrate. And it follows the same premise of the keto diet, where physiologically, when you reduce the amount of carbohydrate that your body has access to, the body will naturally start to burn fat. So the keto diet was pretty much born out of the Atkins diet, but with some modification of the specificity of how many grams you can have, and also the specificity of what sort of foods that you eat. The keto most certainly does not say eat all the bacon you want in the world, whereas the Atkins diet, the only advice you had to follow was don't eat any carbohydrates.
Let's talk about the pros and cons of the Atkins diet. Can you elaborate on that for us?
Yeah, so the same as most of the other low carbohydrate diets, including paleo and keto, and of course, Atkins being the father of the low carbohydrate diet. The pros, of course, are you're resetting your metabolism. You are utilizing fat as energy. So folks who follow any of those low carbohydrate diets will see a dramatic weight loss. The issue at hand is, are they able to sustain that? One, you don't get enough micronutrients, macronutrients when you're inhibiting the ingestion of really good foods. When we think of solid, good carbohydrates, this includes fruits and vegetables. And if I had one piece of advice that I had to stick to for the rest of my nutrition career, it would be eat more fruits and vegetables, just because of all the antioxidants and fiber and micronutrients that they contain. And so when you think about these low carbohydrate diets long term, what you're saying is basically don't eat things that are going to fight disease later.
That makes complete sense. So another one of the popular diets that has been around for years is the South Beach diet. And what is the focus of the South Beach diet?
So the South Beach diet, I will say, is a diet that I promote. I promote it as a detox diet to actually reset the metabolism. So when we think about fad diets, remember, fad diets are only fad diets because of their popularity. There are a lot of fad diets that do actually work and are healthy, like the Mediterranean diet is a fad diet. The Whole30 can be a great detox diet. And when we think about the South Beach diet, again, it's following those same premises. We as Americans are super obese, not because we eat all this fabulously wholesome food. It's because we eat a lot of food product that is way high in sugars. And the South Beach diet was coming off of the 80s diet, which was low fat. Fat is actually an essential nutrient. And so when we think about the excess fat that we have on ourselves, that's not a nutrient, that's adipose tissue. And the body only knows how to convert extra energy into fat. So when we were on the low fat diet in the 80s, we took out the fat from foods, which means we took out the flavor. And so what we added back in was sugar. Sugar has zero fat, tons of calories, and it's got flavor. And so you can see the increase in diabetes with the increase of low-fat products. When the South Beach diet came out, the premise was, let's get your body to reset. Reduce the amount of bad carbohydrates in your diet along with the good carbohydrates for a very small temporary amount of time. So for 2 weeks, the diet is actually pretty strict. It doesn't let you eat any fruit, it doesn't let you have any dairy, and it doesn't let you have any grains, things that have carbohydrate in them. But that's only for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, you add back in the wholesome carbohydrate, because at this point, your body now has reset and it knows how to burn things correctly. And then long term, the South Beach diet promotes a wholesome diet with foods from all of the 5 food groups, limiting alcohol and limiting high bad carbohydrates, which include enriched grains and added sugars.
Let's talk about paleo for a moment, because that's a buzzword right now. Can you tell us what that's about?
Yeah, so the paleo, again, is just another low carbohydrate diet, but what its premise is that we are following what our ancestors ate. So instead of being an agricultural society that now eats grains and eats dairy, the paleo diet really follows a diet that our ancestors who were roaming the earth were eating. The issue I have with it as a nutritional expert is that back then people only lived till they were 30 or 40 or 50. So to me, only eating those foods, it didn't actually extend our life. And the agricultural revolution has allowed us to have access to so many more nourishing foods in this modern age. Again, the paleo can be good short term. It allows you to use up the fat reserves that you may have accumulated over years of having bad eating patterns. But cutting out major food groups for the rest of your life, not eating certain fruits, not having certain vegetables, and never eating grains again, that just sets us up for disease, and our bodies won't have enough immunity to fight those things off.
That makes great sense, and immunity is quite important to us these days. We realize that. So
Indeed.
The bottom line, in your mind, Jamie, when it comes to eating and losing weight, what do people need to keep in mind?
The one thing people need to keep in mind is we have our entire lives. So when we think about a diet, in its most basic definition, a diet really just means an eating pattern. And when we think about the advice that's coming from nutritional professionals, which you'll find that no fad diet is written by a registered dietitian. We are just there to refute and support people on their journey. So the one basic thing people have to keep in mind is that food is required for our survival. We need 6 essential nutrients every day, no matter who we are, no matter where we live. Carbs, proteins, and fats, along with vitamins, minerals, and water. The easiest way to get in these 6 essential nutrients is eating quality foods from the 5 food groups. If someone shuns an entire food group, it's really important to go seek help from a registered dietitian, because those food groups represent a very specific class of nutrients that are required to work collaboratively with everything else. The other thing to keep in mind is that if you want to lose weight, you must exercise. There is no diet that is going to take the place of exercise and movement. And the sedentary lifestyles that we have become so accustomed to shouldn't be the new normal. The fact that over half of our population is obese doesn't make it normal. It just makes it really, really unfortunate. And so when people are looking for a diet, don't look for a quick fix. Look for professional help if you need it. And no matter what, you will never lose weight long term if you don't include movement and physical activity as part of your lifestyle.
Thank you, Jamie. We're out of time today. We want to thank you for joining us. Until next time, stay fit, stay well, and stay healthy for your life with Healthy Living for Life.
Healthy Living for Life is brought to you by Mountain Pacific Quality Health. We'd love to hear from you. If you have suggestions for future programs, visit our website at mpqhf.org or call us at 406-443-4020. You can also catch us on YouTube by visiting our website and clicking on the YouTube icon. Production facilities provided by Video Express Productions.